you
Okay.
intentionally, right?
I'm
So you
excited about this. Yes, I saw on the flyer. Have you coped today? I saw that.
Yes, have you cope today? So, which takes me into my first question. You know, a lot of people probably think, oh, yeah, I know what coping means. How do I adjust to different things? But that is not what you mean about cope. Cope has a meaning that you have defined and a whole framework that you have created. Tell us about this framework cope that you created.
So, as you know, I was a mental health assistant, and one of the things that I got so used to doing on a daily basis, as you know, is group. And coping skills was something that came up very frequently. And I started really looking at coping, and the root word of coping is to cope. And oftentimes we already know what that means. Oh, coping skills, coping skills, coping skills, but we don't really take the time to actually consider what it means. And I actually developed that, and I was like, you know what, cope means create overall or your own positive experiences. That's what coping is, because when you're doing that, when you're listening to music or you're going jogging, you're creating a positive experience for yourself as well. So that's where cope comes from. That's what the word is that I have definitely developed into a whole seminar around that.
I love that. Creating your own experiences. And
Absolutely.
for the entrepreneurs out there, you know all about this, right? We do it every day, no matter what the outcome is. It may look like we flying one day, the next day we like we ran into a ditch, right?
Right.
But we are creating our own experiences. But you don't have to be an entrepreneur to do that. You can do that anyway. You know, the life that you want. So tell us more about this framework. How do we begin to even do that? You know, this might be our first time hearing that tonight.
Absolutely. One of the things that was very key for me is, as adults, we spend about 1/3 of our day at work or working in some form or fashion. Some people spend 2/3 of the days. Some people spend sometimes 24 hours. It depends on what you do. And some people actually go to work and then do their own work as entrepreneurs on the side. So, I really looked at that and I was like, you know what? We need to be able to know what it means to cope in the workplace, creating an overall or your own positive experience in the workplace. That to me was something that I think we can all benefit from, no matter if you work for yourself, work from home, work with others in corporate America. We need to be able to know what it means to cope in the workplace. And so when I look at a lot of the different struggles that we have now, listen, as a mental health therapist, and I know some of us can relate, I love watching Investigation Discovery, all my crime shows. And, I started seeing, and even, in my own personal experiences, but I started seeing that sometimes stress and burnout or, even lovers type situations can lead to dangerous situations in the workplace, stressful situations in the workplace. You know how many times people have quit or gone to another job or, gotten fired and or laid off, and you know how that stress and that trauma can be because of that workplace. Or you may be in a situation at home and come to work and you're stressed out and now you can't even get work done. So cope in the workplace is really about hitting those different things, the stress marks, what burnout looks like, what stress looks like, and then kind of going from there to create a framework of how you can create a positive experience in the workplace.
I want to break it down a little bit because we have to remember all of our audience do not know what framework. What are you talking about? So bring it basic, bring it home, because I've said that before. I kind of set her up for that. Tell us, what is framework in layman's terms? What is that?
So framework is really about the overall, what is the picture? What does it look like to what does it look like to even cope, or why is that even necessary? And so with Cope in the Workplace, the three main things, framework for me, especially when it comes to Cope in the Workplace, the framework really is identifying what stress is, what are stressors, what are triggers. We talk about triggers all the time, but what are they? What do they look like? Are they, me going to work and being stuck in traffic and somebody's yelling at me, and I come to work and now, my coworkers, they don't know what I've been through. What are the stressors that happen in the workplace? That's number one, a part of the framework. Number two, what do those stressors do? We know what stressors are. We can identify those, or we have identified them. Then we go to, what do they actually do? Do you realize that some of the stress that we go through can actually make us gain weight or lose weight? They can, create heart problems, back problems, muscular issues. We've had about 4 people in a workplace who developed a disorder, an actual, body, muscular disorder. It was because of the stress of the workplace. And the last part of that framework is understanding and kind of creating or identifying different things, a part of your plan to be able to be well, despite the triggers or despite the stress, things that we can do to decompress and, kind of get into a better, more positive mindset. Not only where we're doing it for ourselves, but also helping others. So framework really is about what the actual program is around the topic, how that actually helps with what you're doing. Going from, and I always say this even in my practice, going from challenge to change. That framework is the thing that helps you go from challenge, what is it, identifying it, and then identifying how we can change.
I love that, going from challenge to change, because we know that we will have challenges. Some we kind of provoke on our own when we're setting goals, right?
Yeah.
And some happen because of life, the pandemic. So when you mentioned how you handle stress, a lot of us have gained weight during the pandemic. Some of us have lost weight during the pandemic. Just depends on how you handle stress. But I love that you're talking about it from a positive perspective, which is why we want you all here tonight, is that, just because challenges come, it doesn't mean that you don't have a choice in it, that you can't do anything. And what you just said is empowering, embracing the challenge and looking at how can I change in that, the things that are in your control, because some things are not in our control. Absolutely. Which takes me into my next question for you about, you kind of started, why is coping at all so important for us to learn to do and to put it to practice?
So I really feel like, and that's a perfect and wonderful question. And really, because again, when we're spending the majority of our time in this environment, it's like coming home and being in a place where you're uncomfortable. You don't want to be in a place where you're uncomfortable. And then on top of that, now you're leaving home from an uncomfortable environment and going to work in an uncomfortable environment. And so, I think that when it comes to being able to cope in the workplace, it really is important that we understand that we have a responsibility. I think Oprah said it best, and others before her as well. You are responsible for the energy you bring into this space. And, sometimes we rely on our bosses, to make the workplace a better place. We rely on corporate to, give us all the gifts. I mean, gifts are great. Don't get me wrong. I love gifts from corporate. Okay. I still have free mugs and tea. Yeah. I have all the free stuff from everywhere, but we can't always rely on somebody else to create a happy environment, where we're at. We have to also take on a responsibility of putting into practice some of the different skills that can help us get into a more positive mindset. I know I learned that from my experiences, and I wanted to be able to share that with others through this seminar as well.
I think that is so important for so many reasons. When you mentioned leaving a stressful job and then coming home to a stressful environment, I just got tense when you said it. That's high stress. And so when you talked about earlier, the ailments and the diagnosis and the diseases that people can create in their own bodies from stress, we have to put these things into practice that you're talking about. So talk to us about how can we apply this just in our daily activities?
So one of the things that I've known and I've seen, I'm going to back up here. A couple years ago, I was traveling to work, and, getting to work through downtown, it can be rough to say the least. So for us, travelers who go through downtown, it could be any city. But, the commute is always, going from point A to point B, and point B being work. I started really looking at my stress level and my anxiety level in terms of when I went to work. So one thing that I have shared with a lot of people in this seminar is to practice. I'm giving away some secrets here. Practice transit meditation. And transit meditation, I started learning for myself was, especially getting up in the morning and being on the go. You get your cup of tea or cup of coffee or latte. It's pumpkin spice season, so I'm about to get all my pumpkin spice on the way to work. So you get into the mode of go. Well, in the car, or however you travel to work, I decided I'm going to take a moment. I'm not going to have anything on. I'm going to focus on my breathing. I'm going to focus on relaxing. I'm going to think about my goals for the day. What is it that I want to accomplish today? What is it that I need help with accomplishing for today? What is it that I want to be productive in today? Not, I'm going to worry about, this person gossiping, this person, that person, that thing, that stress. I want to focus on what I can control today. I want to breathe it out. I want to talk it through in my brain. I want to be able to allow myself to even say, man, I get to do this today. Not I got to do this today. I gotta do this again, but I get to do this today. Trying to change your focus, shifting the focus from I'm on the go, I gotta do that, to being able to say, you know what, I get to do this today. And when I get to do this today, what can I accomplish today? So it kind of gets your brain in the mindset of calm, tension released. And as you're pulling up to work, you're hyping yourself up to continue that positivity, because, hey, at the end of the day, you do want to be like, you know what, pat on the back, I accomplished that. And I didn't let all of the workplace gossip or all the drama, I didn't let that stop me.